Helen of tyranny. Trump walked back troop withdrawal from Iraq on Sunday's Face the Nation should make everybody wary. Is citing Iran as a reason and saying,
Yes.
all I want to do is be able to watch. This is how it starts. Just ask Jared about how much he regrets not being more prudent when Trump first told him that all he wanted to do was watch.
I was about to say that's a really good point. And I'll be covering that a lot more on MR and on TMBS.
Yeah, do we have that clip, or did we get rid of that
You took
clip?
it in a better direction.
The clip from, we had that yesterday, right? The Iraq one?
Of the guys? The
No,
vets?
of Trump on Sunday. This is Donald Trump arguing that he is completely for withdrawal except for when it actually happens.
In Iraq. It was a big mistake to go. One of the greatest mistakes going into the Middle East that our country has ever made. One of the greatest mistakes that we've ever made.
But you want to keep troops there now.
When it was chosen, well, we spent a fortune on building this incredible base. We might as well keep it. And one of the reasons I want to keep it is because I want to be looking a little bit at Iran, because Iran is a real problem.
Whoa, that's news. You're keeping troops in Iraq because you want to be able to strike in Iran?
No, because I want to be able to watch Iran. All I want to do is be able to watch. We have an unbelievable and expensive military base built in Iraq. It's perfectly situated for looking at all over different parts of the troubled Middle East. Rather than pulling up, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, we're going to keep watching. And we're going to keep seeing. And if there's trouble, if somebody's looking to do nuclear weapons or other things, we're going to know it before they do.
So you're going to trust the intelligence that you receive?
I am going to trust the intelligence that I'm putting there. But I will say this, my intelligence people, if they said, in fact, that Iran is a wonderful kindergarten, I disagree with them 100%. It is a vicious country that kills many people. When you talk about torture and so many other things.
All right, pause it. So let me get this straight. One, if anybody was curious, we have a huge surveillance system out of our base in Iraq. So just in case you were wondering, what is the focal point of our surveillance of Iran? It is that base. Now, maybe they already knew this. Maybe they didn't.
No, but also Qatar, too.
Right, we can't.
Let me just clear that up in all the interviews.
I mean, he clearly just got briefed on the surveillance capacity that is coming out that is unique to our embassy in Iraq, right? Like, he just got briefed on that, and he just basically told the world. A. B, he's also just said, despite the fact that we have intelligence there, I'm not going to listen to them unless they tell me what I believe is true.
Exactly.
And C, he thinks that kindergartens are super benign.
And maybe they'll come back. The country is getting absolutely, when I ended the horrible Iran nuclear deal, it was a horrible deal done by President Obama and John Kerry that didn't know what the hell he was doing. When I ended that deal, Margaret, all of a sudden, Iran became a different country. They became very rapidly. Right now, they're a country that's in big financial trouble. Let's see what happens.
I want to move on here, but I should say your intel chiefs do say Iran's abiding by that nuclear deal. I know you think it's a bad deal.
I disagree with them. By the way,
you disagree with that assessment.
I have intel people. That doesn't mean I have to agree.
What?
So I just think, like, you know, whatever. It's Trump and it doesn't matter. And frankly, this is an area where there would be no difference. Marco Rubio would have done exactly the same thing in terms of ruining this and getting us closer to the war. And this is the, you know, establishment position of the Republican Party and of the Israeli and Saudi and Gulf lobbies that sort of push against it. But, I mean, there is a very logical case just in terms of narrow self-interest as to why Iran would want to have a weapons capacity, just purely based on the fact that they're surrounded by a ring of U.S. troop presence in Afghanistan and Iraq, the fact that Israel has that capacity and threatens Iran, and the amount of work that they actually did effectively, not just Obama and Kerry, but actually Wendy Sherman, who was like the point person on that, to assure them that there's another way to do this was actually like, it's the most successful piece of modern diplomacy that any of us have ever seen and lived through.
I don't believe that.
Right, exactly. I don't believe that.
From my own measured experience in foreign policy
Right.
negotiations, no.
But on the other hand, I hosed Gaddafi on a tent once.
I got news for you.
So think about it.
They're not kindergartners.
They're not kindergartners. And also, you know, I actually think it's really healthy for the world system, but the fact that the Eurozone has actually created like an alternative backup finance mechanism so that they can keep the agreement going with Iran. If you're like in some, you know, a nationalist American prestige mode, very bad.
Oh, yeah.
For American,
Right.
like the way that overlaps with the way the Europeans have been getting involved with the Belt and Road Initiative, the fact that the Chinese and the Indians are already totally, and the Russians are 100% on board with this. Iran's making inroads in Africa. Like, this is, even by that really narrow, like, of course I support it because I'm into peace and blah, 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 but it's a disaster for U.S. influence.
This is the nightmare for all those people who want a U.S. hegemony, right? Which is like we're the only system of finance in the world.